All right, friends, Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
It is a very nice evening here. During the day, it was kind of gray and looked like it wanted to rain. Didn't know what it wanted to do, but all in all, a pretty pleasant day and a very pleasant week in general. But we are here at Shabbat, and doesn't matter what the weather is outside. It is Shabbat, and it is beautiful. And so we're going to begin by welcoming Shabbat, first by lighting the candles, and we have Nancy here to bench licht for us.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu b'halifner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot and commands us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Thank you. All right, let's have a responsive reading. Let's turn to page 6. Page 6, and let's read in the middle of the page. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. All right, page 20, we'll continue a poem from Shlomo Halevi Alkabetz, a Mekubal, a mystic out of the wonderful city of Sfat in the Galil. Lecha Dodi, top of page 20. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad, Yishme'ahanu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, L'shem tiferet v'litila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela, Likrat Shabbat lechu b'nelcha, Ki mekor ha'bracha, Me'rosh mikedem nehesucha, Sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela, Mikdash melech ir melucha, Kumitzi'i mitoch hafecha, Rav la hakshevet b'yem hechabacha, V'hu yachamol alaychem la, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela, Itna arim yafar kumi, Livni v'deiti farteh ami, Al yad benishai beit halachmi, Korva el nafshi gehala, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela, Hitorari, Ki va'orek kumihi ori, shir daveri, Kavod Adonai alayich nigla, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela, Lo tevoshi v'lo tikolmi, Mahatish tochachi matehemi, V'chyechesu aniyehe ami, V'nihivneta ir al tila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela, V'hayu l'shimsa shohosayich, V'rahachaku kol mevalayich, Yasis alayich Elohayich, Ki himsos matan al kala, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat Nekabela, Yamin Usmol Tifrosi, V'et Adonai Ta'aritzi, Al Yadish Ben Partzi, V'nihi Smecha V'nagila, Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat Nekabela, Bo'im Shalom Ateret Bala, Gam V'simcha U'Sohola, Tochem Hunei Am Segula, Bo'im Chala, Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat Nekabela. We'll turn the page to page 22, and let's read some verses from the Psalm for Shabbat, Psalm 92. Let's read the outdented paragraph in English together. A song for Shabbat. It is good to praise Adonai, to sing hymns to your name, O Most High, to proclaim your steadfast love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night, to the 10-stringed harp with voice and lyre together. You have glad me by your deeds, Adonai. I shout for joy at your handiwork. How great are your works, Adonai, how very subtle your designs. A brute cannot know, a fool cannot understand this. Tzadikatam ha'yifra, ke'erez balvanon, yiskeh shetulim, b'veit Adonai, b'chatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu. O Jinun v'seva, d'shenim v'ra'ananim, yihiyu lehagid, ki ashar Adonai tzuri velo avlatavo. Page 24, we'll welcome the angels, according to the rabbis in the Talmud, the angels who come to spend Shabbat with us. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, V'melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, V'melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu ni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, V'melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seifem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, V'melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We have welcomed the Shabbat this evening, and we are going to turn to page 146 for Baruch Hu. We'll begin the evening service, Arvit l'Shabbat, page 146. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach,
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam Va'ed. Page 147, let's read together in English. Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish. but your sovereignty endures. Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv arabim. Top of 148, the second bracha before Shema. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael, amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, u'kim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, v'shofteinu u'kumeinu, nasiach bechukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'v'mitzvotecha, le'olam ha'ed. Ki heim chayenu, v'yorech yameinu, v'yorech yameinu, u'bahem nehege yomam v'layla, yomam v'layla. Ve'ahavat echaltos yomimenu li'olamim, baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta ha'et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levacha, u'b'chol nafshecha, u'b'chol me'otecha, v'hayu advarim ha'ele, asher anochi mitzavecha, hayom al levanecha, v'shinyantam levanecha, v'dibartam, v'shivtecha b'beitecha, u'vlektecha b'derech, u'v'shokbecha u'vkumecha, u'kshartam la'ot al yadecha, v'hayu latotafot b'neinecha, u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, u'v'hisharecha. Leman tizkaru la'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'tem kedoshim le'elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti echem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem le'elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Middle of page 151, let's read responsibly. We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all.
Yet that oneness lives our grasp as imperfection evil abound.
Before our eyes, there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness.
There is evil enough to break the heart, there is good enough to exalt the soul.
When will redemption come?
And everyone will we claim for ourselves.
Long ago, we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High.
Learn present James time manifest. So we celebrate this power of making free.
Top of 152. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar ba'kodesh, nohorati lo, ohosef ne'eleh, malchutecha ra'u banecha, bokeyam lifnei Moshe, zeli anu v'amruhu, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, v'ne'emar ki fad Adonai et Yaakov, u'ga'alo mi'at chazak mimenu, baruch atah Adonai, ga'al Yisrael. Top of page 153, Ashkivenu. Ashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'ha'amidenu shomreinu L'chaim. Ashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Ha'amideinu shomreinu l'chaim. Let's read together in English. Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporesu shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Top of page 154, verses from the book of Exodus, the book of Shemot. It's not Shabbos if we don't have it, it's Vishamru. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'rit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'rit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti li'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'rit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'rit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'rit olam. We're now at the Amidah, the central prayer of the evening service. We'll chant 155 and 156 and 157 together, and then we'll go silently 158 through the end on 168. And during the silent time, you can read and finish the prayer in Hebrew. You could read the English and poetic translations, or you could offer up your own meditative prayer. But we're going to begin together on 155 for the Amidah. Adonai sifatai tikach u'v'ya'iti hilatecha. Adonai sifatai tikach u'v'ya'iti hilatecha. Adonai open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibul, Ha'Torah, Elyon, Omer Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot Imahot, U'mevi Goel Livnei B'neihem, L'man Shemo V'Ahava, Melech Moshiach U'Magid, Baruch atah Adonai, Magid Avraham, V'Yezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor L'Olam Adonai,
Mechayim Beitim Tarash B'Chia, Mashi Paruach, Uberit HaGashem, Mechalkel Chayim B'Chesed, Mechayim Beitim B'Rachamim Rabim, Soholech Noflim V'Rofeh Oholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha V'Givurot, Umidom Melech, Melech Me'ito Mechayem, Umatzliach Yeshua, V'ne'emanata l'chayot meitim, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei Amen.
So completing your Amidah, please continue at your own pace. We're going to turn to page 160, and let's read that paragraph together in English. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may we all live in such a way that this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Yekadesh HaShabbat. A little bit of hoda'ah, a little bit of thanksgiving, and a little bit of gratitude. Top of page 163, let's read responsively. For the good in us, which calls us to a better life, we give thanks.
For the strength to improve the world, our hearts and our hands, we offer praise.
For the desire in us, which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful.
For life and nature, harmony and beauty, for the hope of tomorrow, praise the source of being.
We'll close out our Amidah with the prayer for peace in the evening. It's Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamcha, Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon, Lechol HaShalom. Ki atahu melech Adon, Lechol HaShalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael, bechol עת ובכל שעה, בשלומך, שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. We're going to jump ahead to page 253. One of the many prayers for healing. This one is one of the Misha Berach. And if you have anybody who needs a little bit extra healing, whether it's psychological, physical, emotional, spiritual, keep them in your thoughts and close to your hearts as we prepare for Misha Berach in the middle of 253. Misha Berach Avoteinu Mikor habracha le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mikor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Let's jump to 258 and 259, prayers for our community. Maury, how about for our congregation? Top of 258.
Source of all being, may the children of this community learn these passions from us: love of Torah, devotion and prayer, and support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction, and may we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy.
Baruch atah Adonai, shotecha l'racha b'yira na'avod. Ed, for our country.
O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to wonders of creation and alert to care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit. Amen.
Shalom, shalom, Yerushalayim, Yishlayu, Ohavayim. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. Avinu Shabashamayim, Sur Yisrael, Bagolo, Varech et Medinat Yisrael, Reishit Smichat Ulatenu, Hagein Aleha V'yavrat Chasdecha, Ufros Aleha Sukat Shlomecha, Ushlach Uracha V'yamitecha, Levosheha, Sareha V'yatzeha, V'tachnein Be'etza Tova Bilfanecha, V'natata Shalom Ba'aretz, V'simchat Olam Liyoshveha, V'nomar Amen. Dennis, for Israel, please.
Down at the bottom, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love, spread it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise. Guarding guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen.
Amen. All right, friends, Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos.
Shabbos.
This week, Parshat Vayishlach. It's one of my favorites. It marks the reconciliation between Esav and his younger problematic brother Yaakov. But my dislike or my indifference towards Yaakov notwithstanding, this is a really, really good parsha. Yaakov, on his return home, he's heading back to his parents and the land where he was born. And this is a physical return and also a metaphysical return. He hears that Esav is on his way to meet him, so he sends messengers to Esav before their meeting to say, hey, I'm here, what's up? Now, they've not had contact for 20 years. So Yaakov, instead of going himself, sends these messengers, and they come back with an interesting report. They said that, yes, in fact, your brother Esav is on his way, and he's got 400 armed men with him. Now, of course, Yaakov, who, even though he has changed, but he's about to undergo an even greater change, seems to forget that other people might be able to change as well. So even though it's been 20 years, he still feels that Esav is out to get him, and the reason he is coming with 400 men is to do mischief to Yaakov. So Yaakov panics and he divides his group into two camps, and he puts one out in the front and one behind, so that if one in the front is attacked, the one behind will be safe. If the one behind is attacked, the one out in the front will be safe. So he panics. And then he decides he's going to spend the night alone. He's worried. He doesn't know what his brother is going to do. And during this night, Yaakov wrestles with a man angel. And so we're not 100% sure what this creature, this character is. But near dawn, after they've been wrestling the entire night or fighting the whole night, the visitor wants to leave, and Yaakov refuses and says, I want a blessing. I'll let you go, but you got to give me a blessing first. And instead of a blessing, I guess this can be a blessing, he has his name changed. He's no longer to be known as Yaakov, he's to be known as Yisrael. And the translation, we're not 100% sure, but it's often handed down as you are one who struggled with God and man. And that's true. That is true. But before the angel or the being leaves, he whacks Yaakov on his thigh, and Yaakov leaves the encounter with a permanent limp. So he does meet Esav. And it is one of those beautiful meetings that you can only imagine. Esav runs up to him and grabs him, puts him in a hug, gives him a kiss, and they reconnect. And then they each go on their own way. It's not a long reconciliation, but it's enough. And we find out that the reason Esav was coming with 400 men was not to attack his brother, but to show, despite what his brother had done in terms of the birthright and the blessing, that Esav has done pretty well for himself. He's a warlord, and that's what he wants. I mean, that's exactly, if he was going to fill out one of those job things that we all had to do in high school when I was in high school, one of those job determinators, Esav would have gotten warlord. And he's done well for himself, and so is Yaakov, and there's no argument there. So each goes on his own way, and Yaakov, doesn't say what Yaakov thought about the encounter, but I'm certain that he is relieved. Right then, we get what I call a drop-in story. There are a number of stories in the book of Genesis that are dropped in. What comes before them and what comes after them is not related to that story that is dropped in. And the first one is the Dinah story. This is Jacob's daughter. And she goes while they are visiting, and she is raped by Shechem. And he wants to marry her. He falls in love with her, and the brothers are a bit upset at this, and they say, well, if you want to marry her, you and all your men have to be circumcised. And so Shechem and his men agree. And then, well, the day after the circumcision, when they're all very much in pain, a number of Jacob's sons come and slaughter Shechem and his men. And so when Yaakov hears about this, he is very upset. Not so much upset at what happened to Dinah, but upset that how will this affect me? How will people look at me if you've gone out and done this? And the sons look at him and say, should we allow our sister to be treated like a whore? Check that line in the Torah. It's a very, very powerful line. And that's the end of the story. And so after that story, we now pick up with Jacob at Bethel. And he has an encounter with God. And God promises that nations shall flow through you. Similar to what God has said to Abraham and to Isaac. And that they, Yaakov's descendants, will get the promised land. Right? They'll get to enter into Canaan and stay there. Rachel dies in childbirth. Remember, this is last week when she took her father's little household god, and Jacob was incensed and said, whoever did this, may they die because they did it. And he didn't know Rachel had done it. And she dies in childbirth, giving birth to the last of Jacob's children, Benjamin. And unlike all of the other patriarchs and matriarchs, Rachel is buried on the side of the road. At the very end, Yitzhak dies, Isaac dies, and he's buried at Machpelah. He's buried at the cave, the family grave, by both Esav and Yaakov. And this week we have one new mitzvah, and it's a lo ta'aseh, it's a don't do, and it's regarding a certain part, a certain vein in the leg of an animal, and we don't eat that vein or that part of the animal out of respect for Jacob and his wound. So that's your Torah portion in a nutshell. Well, friends, this Shabbat at sundown marks the beginning of my pops' 12th yard site. 12 years. I'm not a big fan of even numbers, but when it comes to my dad, I'm not a fan of any number, counting the years that he's not been here. It seems like yesterday. It really does. That we were talking on the phone, and then that was the last I heard his voice. And then again, it seems like an eternity. It seems like he's been gone forever. I'm grateful for the time that I had with him. I was 42, 43 when he died. So I had my dad a lot longer than some people have their dads. And so I'm truly, truly grateful for that. But it's funny, there are still times when I pick up my phone and I get ready to call him, especially if I read something or I see a show or a movie that I think he would like. I halfway dial his number before I realize that he's not going to answer. This last week leading up to this, I've been thinking a lot about what he taught me. Now, got to understand that I am not an easy student, and I was not easy with him, and he was not always easy on me, which is fine. He needed to get me and my brother to adulthood, which he did, and so it's pretty good. So every once in a while, I'll be sitting around, I'll thinking, WWPD, right? What would Pops do? Right? Especially if I'm faced with a decision, most often a difficult decision, I'll think about what he would do. And if he were here, he would say, and then he chooses to do the opposite. But that's not the case. Part of the reason I think this way is that it keeps him alive. I imagine the conversations I would have with him, with some of the difficulties, some of the challenges, some of the life decisions I've had to make, and I'll continue to make. But he was a true role model, right? When he died, the last words he heard from me and the last words I heard from him were, "I love you." We had an open relationship, and I have no regrets. I tell people that and they find it difficult to believe that at his funeral, at his shiva, all of that, I didn't shed a tear, simply because I had no regrets. I didn't wish I had said something. I didn't wish I had told him something. Everything that he needed to know about me, he knew. He had met my partner, Steve, and there was nothing that I kept hidden. And he was that role model because he exhibited in his life the traits that he wanted me and he wanted my brother to emulate. For example, he never used certain words in our presence. There are a list of words that George Carlin used to joke about, and I don't think I heard my father mention any of them. Now, I'm certain that when he was with his friends, he did, but not in front of my brother and me and our friends. He was never dismissive of another person's ideas, no matter how ridiculous the idea was. He would listen to them and not agree or disagree, but would just listen. He never embarrassed anyone publicly. He knew how to apologize, even to his hard-headed elder son, when I would sometimes be right. And he never stayed angry. He let it go. Right? That is something that I'm still learning, and I do miss him because the lessons of that were incredible. If you can ask my mom next time she's here, she'll remember my dad and I going hammer and tongs on something. Something I wanted to do, he said no. Something I didn't want to do, he said I had to do it. We would go hammer and tongs for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and then we'd break. And then before the end of the night, we were eating ice cream together and laughing because it wasn't worth it. He taught me about grudges. My father never held grudges, right? But it's almost, a grudge is something that is always a direct object. It needs a transitive verb, right? You don't grudge somebody, but you bear a grudge, you nurse a grudge, you carry a grudge. It always needs an action. And Pop said, bearing a grudge, too much work. Let it go. Holding a grudge is like taking poison and waiting for the other person to die. Pop says it saps your energy, makes you tired and irritable, and diminishes our happiness. I've often said that if I could do away with a couple of things in Judaism, one would be the idea of Yizkor, the memorial service we say 4 times a year. And instead of saying Yizkor 4 times a year, require people to remember their loved ones every day and to live by their ideals every day, not just 4 times a year. Because to me, my dad's yard site, Pops' yard site, it's just another day on the calendar because I keep him with me every day. And I'm still learning the lessons he taught me. Pop said, life's too short to be angry. Talk about it, then let it go, and then get on with your life. Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos, everyone.
Well said, well said.
Maury, what time is it?
Kadoosh.
It's Kiddush time. Yes, it is.
Ay,
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Friday night Kiddush. Vayhi erev vayhi boker yom hashishi vayachulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzivam vayachol Elohim vayom hashvi'i melachto asher asa vayishvot vayom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asar
ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו, אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. סברי, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו, בשבת קודשו באהבה ורצון התחילה לנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת, מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך, באהבה ורצון, הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת.
Amen. I'll have to try that someday.
Well,
You drink the wine.
it's grape juice.
I gave that up.
Grape juice?
Yeah.
Yeah, what you missing? Wine, they drink that. I think it's
It really
Manischewitz.
is. It's soothing. It's nice.
And I think that Manischewitz and, ugh, can't do that. But, grape juice, it works.
Yep.
All right, let's start. We'll close out on page 65. Aleinu. I'm sorry, not 65. 280. 65 in my book. 282 in your book. 282. Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח מדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר ראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו בכל העולם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושט יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת נפשו בכל מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אהוד, אמץ אלוהינו את זולתו, כתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום להשבותה אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ, מתחתינו. הכתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו echad. This week we observed the following yahrzeits: Sidney Jaroslav, Bill Winston's father; James G. Secunda, Rosalind Firestein's father; Arthur Weisberg, Joan's husband, son of Gussie and Philip, father of Pamela, Martha, Louis, Seth, and Charlie. Simon D. Cantor, Pauline's maternal grandfather. Maxine Schoenfeld Frank, relative of Walter Lewis. Adele Margolis Bro, wife of Adolf Bro, mother of Robert. Barbara Shaddles, Steve's mother. Rita Silberta, friend of Jack Hyman. Harry Silverberg, Lynn Mayer's maternal grandfather. Frederick J. Glazer, Hoyt's father. Saul Hyman, Jack's uncle. Lena Klausner, Paul Mayer's maternal grandmother. Ruth Perry, Loretta Levine's mother. My friend Eric Pyburn. Robert Simons, Saul Kaplan's son-in-law, husband of Sharon. Dorothy Slifkin, Nancy Billig's mother. Laura Behar Turetsky, Tori Witcher's mother. Beatrice Miller, Randy's mother. May their souls be bound up in the bond of life eternal. May their memories be a blessing to us all, and may they all rest in peace.
Amen.
Mourner's Kaddish is found on page 294. Yitgadal, Yitgadash, Shmei Rabba, Dalma, Divrach, Irutei, Yamei, Mosutei, L'chai Echod, Yom Echod, L'chai Echod, Beit Yisrael, V'agalav, Yizman, Chariv, Yimru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba, Borach, Le'olam, Olamei Amaya, Yishvarach, Yishtabach, Yitvar, Yitrama, Yitaseh, Yishadar, Yishalel, Yishalal, Shmei, Shusha, Yiru, Le'elam, Yirov, Yerchata, B'shirata, Tuishmachata, B'nechemata, B'amram, B'amram, Yiru, Amen. Yehi Shalom Rabba Min Shemaya, L'chaim Aleinu, Yom Yisrael, Yiru, Amen. Oseh Shalom V'Ramav, Yaseh Shalom, Aleinu, V'Yalcho Yisrael, Yiru,
Amen.
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 All right, friends, just a couple of quick announcements before we close out our service this evening. Tomorrow morning, service is 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Come and join us. Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Monday night, we have our Genesis deep dive. And then on Wednesday, we have the Yiddish choir, the best choir from coast to coast, the Yiddish choir with the most. Come and join us here in the synagogue and or on Zoom. So everything is live and often on Zoom too for those who can't make it. And then we'll be back next Shabbos. So, Sunday, I believe Sisterhood is making latkes in the kitchen. If you're going to join, Hanukkah is almost right around the corner. And so, so that's this this week. So kind of a quiet week, kind of an easy week. So that'll be good for us. So do come out and see us when we are here. All right, let's close out on 321 with Adon Olam. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'et Nasa B'chepso Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nivra V'Yacharei Tiflo Takol Levado Yimloch Nora Vehu haya, vehu hoveh, vehu yeh b'tifara, vehu echad, v'ein sheni. L'hamshilo, l'hachmira, v'li reishit, v'li tachlit, v'lo ha'oz, v'hamisra, vehu eli, v'chai go'ali, v'tzorchet li, v'yehitzahara, Vehu nisi umanosli, venat hosi v'yom ekra b'yahado avkid ruchi, v'eti shan b'yahira, v'im ruchi g'vi'ati, Adonai li v'lo hira. All right, we have lots of people tonight. Last couple of weeks, we only had a handful, and now a bunch of people from the interwebs. Let's see. Shabbat shalom to all from Rabbis Mom and Cliff. Thanks, Mom and Cliff. Wishing all a peaceful weekend and a good week ahead. Thank you. ML Glazer, and there's Herman. ML and Herman. Wish all a good Shabbat. Stay warm. Colder temperatures are moving in this week. Yes, it is almost winter. So yes, the colder temperatures are here. But thank you, ML and Herman. David Johnson says Shabbat shalom. Jenny Bro, Shabbat shalom, everyone. Have a restful weekend, a week of peace. You too. Somebody dropped out. Mom says very touching words about Pops. Thank you. Thank you. You'll notice, Mom, I'm wearing not the Jerry Garcia tie, but the Shakespeare tie, and you know where that comes from. All right, friends, come and see us. We are open. We look forward to having you here. Life is better with people. Shabbat shalom, good Shabbos, and please, please be careful out there.
Amen.
Good job.
Good job.
Good Shabbos. So who